I'm very curious if any AEW fan will admit that Tony Khan is just nauseating. And he's absolutely unbearable to listen to. He's unbearable to watch. Even his mannerisms. Oh, they're cringe. They're absolutely cringe. We have seen Tony Khan sit here and tell you he's used the propaganda machine. Now, granted, WWE has done the same thing. Vince just doesn't come out every 5 seconds and tell you that the product is great. Don't watch it. Don't watch anyone else. He does his thing. He doesn't even mention them, and we all know that the WWE has their own. I mean, hell, they have their own freaking universe. So I'm not saying that the WWE are angels by any stretch of the imagination. I'm not saying that. What I do have a problem with is the hypocrisy. And every time that you call this little shithead out on it, he has a problem with it. For example, a couple of weeks ago, someone had called out Tony Khan and said that his father, Saeed Khan, has done business dealings in Saudi Arabia. And he asked, well, isn't that the same thing? Don't you guys have blood money also? Isn't that the same thing as Vince McMahon in the WWE doing business with Saudi Arabia? And this little prick flipped out. He absolutely flipped out. How dare you? Blah, 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 blah. Whoa, punk. Easy now. Easy now. We'll give you your bib and your baby monitor later. He's a child. He's a petulant old child. And then I love that contract that he said, oh, when you sign a contract with the WWE, you're not really signing a real contract. My people are lifers. They're lifers here at AEW. Lifers. Okay. Let's think of this from a business standpoint. Okay. And let's just think about the idiotic, moronic statement that he just said. Okay. Let's take it from the top and work our way and try and analyze this here. Okay. This is last week around the time the WWE did their mass firings, which again, I think is BS. Also, you can't tell me, it's almost like the Yankees. You can't sit here and tell me that you're releasing these people due to budget cuts when you're reeling in so much money that you're setting records and you're raking in billions of dollars in revenue. You can't sit here and tell me that you're releasing these people because of budget cuts. Just say we had nothing. We had nothing for them. Just say our creative team is a joke, and some of these people we just don't know what to do with. Some people I agree with. Some people I look at and I just don't think that they'll be stars. I think that they'll if they go to AEW, or they go to Impact, or they go to even the NWA, which I like, by the way, they'll maybe find some success. I don't see any Stone Cold in there, any Rock or Triple H where Vince just lets someone go and now that person's going to be the next big thing. I don't see that happening from anyone that he's released in a very long time. Okay, so I don't see that. So I'll disagree with that. But so he releases everyone, and they say it's budget cuts or whatever. We know it's bullshit, and we know it's bullshit, and we know it's not. So Kahn then comes out and says, and again, I'm assuming he was asked this because, I mean, every time I turn around, Tony Khan is saying something WWE related. He just can't keep WWE out of his mouth. But anyway, he makes a comment like, I believe the direct quote was, when people sign a contract with the WWE, they are not signing real contracts. At AEW, my people are lifers. Boom. So now what he has done, now with this little Mark wrestling fan disguised as a wrestling promoter, what he has done is he has now boxed himself into a corner. And every time he says something like this, he boxes himself into a corner. Also, I just want to give you a daily reminder that this did happen. There was a replay of SmackDown. This was like a month or 2 months ago, but I want to keep reminding you of this. That a replay of SmackDown beat a new AEW program. Something that people had already seen the night before beat an AEW show that no one had watched before. Just want to throw that out there. And you can give me all the demo bullshit and give me everything that you want about the key 18 to 49 demo and how that's a big thing. And granted, I understand that television is not like it was, or at least publicly, what it was in 98 to what it is now. Because I'm assuming that demos have always been a big thing. You want to go to your target audience, and that's where you kind of get the thing of where your sponsors are going and who to get the sponsor. So I understand that demos have probably been a pretty big deal in television for a while. We just have not obviously, been dissecting them until now. And now that's all AEW fan people go by is the demos. And again, it was cool when they were beating the, junior varsity minor league NXT. I'm curious as to what would happen if they would go up against Raw. They would go up against SmackDown head to head. And don't give me SmackDown on FS1. Give me actual head to head. Because from what we've seen, they brought CM Punk in. They have Daniel Bryan. They should be getting 1.5 million people a night. Every single program that they have should be pumping out 1.5 million people, and it's not. But that's a whole different conversation for a whole nother thing. Let's get back to what Kahn said, okay? And let's try and look at it from a business standpoint. So what he's telling you is that AEW people are lifers. So there was this report that came out that there are multiple contracts in AEW that are reportedly going to be up soon. Now, when they started in 2019, most of the talent, from what we have heard, signed 3-year deals. Well, we're coming up on the 3-year threshold now, and we're coming up in 2022. So now, schmuckhead Tony Khan is going to have to either shit or get off the pot. Are you on that is, well, they're all lifers to us. All of my people are lifers. Or are you a business just like WWE? And are you a businessman just like Vince? And you're going to have to make the tough decisions. The problem with Tony Khan is he wants everyone to like him. He wants to jump up and around, and he wants the wrestlers to be his friends because he's a mark. He's a little shithead mark who is disguised as a wrestling promoter. That's what he is. Okay? He's not a wrestling promoter by heart. He's not. He's that's if I took over WWE for a day. And I'd be skipping around with the microphone going, "Oh my God. Have you ever seen him talk? It's just so cringeworthy. God, it's sickening. And you know what else is sickening while we're on the topic of AEW? I don't want to go through a whole video, another video of this. So I'll just throw it out there. I think it's absolutely disgusting that they are using Owen Hart's name to get traction. I think it's disgusting. And don't give me the BS that Owen Hart's wife okayed this, because Owen Hart's wife wants nothing in the world except to shit on WWE and make it known that her husband will never be involved with anything with WWE. Okay. And we could go through a whole thing about Owen Hart's fall and Owen Hart's death, and if Vince and the WWE didn't get that right. And again, that's a whole nother story for a whole nother video for a whole nother time. But you cannot sit here and tell me that them using his name as up for an Owen Hart trophy or an Owen Hart. Come on. Owen Hart never wrestled a day in AEW. AEW didn't exist when Owen Hart was alive. Me personally, I think it's tacky. I think it's using a dead man's name for leverage. And don't tell me that if WWE did the same thing with someone that never wrestled in their promotion, that we would be saying the same thing. Some of you AEW little fanboys would be saying the same thing. And again, it's much like politics with the right and the left. We see what's going on now. There's a travel ban, and everyone is, oh my God, this is great. Do this travel ban. Well, it's funny because when Donald Trump was the president, the orange man bad. And when he did it, it was racist because orange man bad, orange man racist. But the sweet little old dementia man that's in the White House that eats his apple juice by 4 p.m. He's doing it, and it's not racist. Again, that's what we call hypocrisy in the world. So, and then that's also with the people saying that they would not take the vaccine also because they didn't trust anything from Donald Trump. Well, the vaccine came out when Trump was president, and now you all are taking it. And now we're shitting on people that are not taking the vaccine. By the way, I'm vaxxed. I want to throw it out there. But be it as it may, that's what we call hypocrisy. Hypocrisy is the Met fans now rejoicing that their team is spending money like a drunken freaking sailor. Now, don't sit here and tell me and yell and cry and bitch and moan that the Yankees have bought their championships over the years because you've just done the same exact thing. So that's what we call hypocrisy. And we see a lot of hypocrisy. We see a lot of hypocrisy with AEW, and we see a lot of hypocrisy in the WWE. And Tony Khan, I don't think he is a guy that is going to successfully hold on to this product because you got to be a shrewd businessman. If you're just going to say everyone's a lifer, you're just going to sign everyone. Well, yeah, you'll have every talent under the sun, but then what's going to happen? People are going to start getting extremely frustrated. I mean, do we even remember that Daniel Bryan is on AEW? I mean, yes, they have a loaded roster, but they're not using half these people. What about Rusev? What about Darby Allin, who's a homegrown name? And again, this is what I mean. We'll wrap this up. This is what I mean by a little Mark wrestling fan disguised as a promoter and just living out his wrestling fantasy. Sting versus Billy Gunn. I'm sorry. Is it 1999? Sting versus Billy Gunn. Now, granted, it's not a one-on-one match. It's not Sting versus Billy Gunn. It's Billy Gunn and his son in a tag match versus Sting and Darby Allin. But again, I can see where he's going. He's throwing it out there where it's Billy Gunn. Oh, it's Billy Gunn from D-Generation X going up against the face of WCW. He's going up against Sting. Oh, and he's in the corner and stuff is just exploding everywhere because he's just having an orgasm because this is part of his fantasy. This is part of his fantasy. And that's not smart booking, and that's not going to get you smart booking. And when you start signing everybody, you're going to have people that are frustrated and people that are pissed off. And it's only a matter of time before people start leaving that ship. Because, hey, I was here, and now they're bringing in all these people, and now there's nowhere for us to work. So what are we doing? Again, you go to WWE, you try and give them the big FU. You go to NWA. I mean, again, Impact, they got about 45 people watching Impact right now, but still, it's something. Or you could make a fresh start, go to Japan, go to New Japan Pro Wrestling. There are so many options in pro wrestling right now. You don't have to stay in WWE. You don't have to stay in AEW. That's the beauty of it. Wrestling right now is booming. You have the NWA, which I mean, Billy Corgan is a genius. Not only are the Smashing Pumpkins just freaking amazing, but Billy Corgan is a genius, and he has taken the NWA and he's taken traditional wrestling and he has brought it back to life. I love watching the NWA. Love it. I love their YouTube stuff. And that's a company that I would pay for their pay-per-view. I would pay. I haven't paid for pay-per-view for wrestling in so long. I would pay for an NWA pay-per-view because you know what? Corgan gets it. He gets it. And that's a smart businessman. And that's a guy, yes, he's a wrestling fan, but he is a businessman as well. And I love what the NWA is doing. So there's so many options for a wrestler to go. You don't have to go to get tied down by Tony Khan and his little, oh my God, everyone is so wonderful. Or Vince, firing people left and right, or, he's going to look at you and say, all right, pal, go out there in a chicken suit. I think it's funny. You don't have to be tied down by that. But Tony Khan, Smark, not a wrestling promoter. It's just fact.